Good morning, and here we are, another day, another coffee, another sit down. Only a little unexpected today because it's the weekend. Everybody's at home, albeit they've all got plans. So they've all gone off out for the day with, I think, the expectation that I'm going to stay here, sort the house out, get everything ready, and generally do stuff around here, which in my mind translated to make yourself a coffee, put your feet up, and hey, make a video if you feel like it. So here I am. Now, because I hadn't intended to do a video today, it's given me an opportunity to almost do an additional one about something that I've been kind of throwing around the idea for the last few weeks. And it's something I just want to explore a little bit more in depth and see, has the electric vehicle revolutionised the world? And bear with me on this, because we keep hearing about all these great stories about how everything's changing because of an electric vehicle. So I thought, well, there must be some specific areas of development that have made a real difference. So I started sort of looking at some of these different areas. Now, electric vehicles are nothing new. Electric vehicles have been about since pretty much the horse and cart got converted into a carriage. And you look back to the early, 1830s, I think a chap called Robert Anderson in America put batteries or electric motor into an old carriage and made that a self-propelling electric vehicle. And then all through history from that point on, you can see various people at various points have tried to make an electric vehicle. Some have been successful, some haven't. And there's various reasons, and it's probably a video in itself about the reasons why they haven't been very good. Not that the vehicles haven't been good, but they haven't been successful because of quite often outside influences. So electric vehicles per se are nothing new. What about components within electric vehicles or other technology that electric vehicles have brought? Well, I thought, let's go to the other extreme. Let's look at autonomous driving and self-driving cars, to the point where at no point do they ever need any input from a human. Well, again, that hasn't come about solely because of electric vehicles. That's been tried and tested over many years in internal combustion engine vehicles. So whilst, yes, looking to the future, there probably will be electric vehicles, it's not because of them that technology has been invented. Okay, so let's make it a bit more simple. Let's look at some of the components on the car, and has anything changed as a direct result of electric vehicles becoming popular on the roads? One of the areas that I could find was tyres. Tyres have been updated and changed. You'll see Goodyear at the moment have just announced a new efficient grip tyre, which is basically, it's an evolution of the one that I've put on my car. Oh, and while I'm talking about tyres, I've been meaning to say for ages, those Goodyear efficient grips I put on my car a few months ago, I've done a few thousand miles on them now. As you would expect, they've performed brilliantly in the dry, really quiet, really, I say efficient. My efficiency is still good, so nothing's changed there. So the extra money I spent from that point of view is definitely worthwhile. Where it's really surprised me is in the wet. They are the quietest tyres I think I've ever had in the wet, and I've been really, really impressed with them, and the grip levels are really good as well. Not that I race around, but I would recommend those tyres. Definitely, they're a little bit more money, but if you like your EV to be very quiet, very refined, I think it's worth the money. My own opinion, but I've been meaning to say that for ages. Anyway, Goodyear have really kind of invested some time now in electric vehicles and the tyres they produce. And their new efficient grips that I think are coming out later in the year, they're a different moulding. They've reduce the size of the tread within it to make it quieter, all sorts of bits and pieces, all about refining it, making it more efficient, which is exactly what we want in our electric cars. But that's nothing new. That's just an evolution of a tyre, which, to be honest, should have happened years ago, but because we're all driving around in noisy ICE cars, they didn't need to be that quiet. The engine was noisier than the tyre anyway. So the tyres evolved because of it, but there's nothing new. While we're on wheels, then what I thought was going to be a really big topic, which I thought, this is it, I found it. I found what's changed because of electric vehicles. And we say we can reinvent the wheel. Well, Continental claim they have reinvented the wheel. Now they've produced a new wheel which in its essence, the outside of it, the rim part of it, comes away with the tyre on, which gives you easy access to the wheel, which means you can change your tyres really, really easily. You effectively have 2 sets of rims, which will be cheaper, with your tyres on, and you can swap them in and out. Great. I guess the real new part of it is around the braking. And rather than the brakes being mounted directly to the caliper, they're mounted within the wheel. There's a couple of sections within the wheel, they're mounted in there. It means that the disc itself, the brake disc, can be much bigger, which means it's more efficient, which means that it runs around the outside, so the brake caliper can be much smaller, which means it's a lot lighter. And then they talk about the materials used because driving an electric car, you don't use the brakes as much, they get rusty, so they're using aluminium. And it's all about weight saving, and making the most of that regenerative braking that we're all used to in EVs. Is it new? Well, yes, because it's a different way of building the wheel. Is it specifically for EVs? Well, initially I thought, yeah, here we are, this is it. This is what has evolved directly from EVs. But then you dig a little bit deeper into what Continental are doing. Actually, it's a wheel that they were looking at producing and are producing anyway. And the way that they talk about it is about the easy changing of the tyres, taking the rim off. So yeah, it's evolved and it's come about, and it's given a marketing side because of electric vehicles. But actually, I think it probably would still have been, well, certainly the concept would have been designed without electric vehicles. Whether that goes into production, we'll wait and see. But so nothing really new there. So now I've kind of really struggling to find what have electric vehicles brought. There's the car itself. It's still a car. It looks no different. It's just a different power input. You look at some of the cars like the Nissan Leaf, designed solely to be an electric vehicle. Well, like it or hate it, the design of it, it still looks like a car. It's just a bit of a different looking car. It's still got a bonnet at the front, boot at the back, doors on the side, and a steering wheel where you expect to see it. So we really are struggling now. What, of all this great fanfare and all this excitement of electric vehicles, what have they brought us? The other big area that really interests me at the moment is vehicle to grid. This is all about having your vehicle plug into your home, and the energy that goes into your vehicle goes in at low demand times for the sort of the national grid, as it's called here in the UK, and then at high demand times it can remove some of that energy from your vehicle to power the national grid. Brilliant technology. It's new as far as coming to consumers on a mass level. Is it new? Well, ultimately, it's just the same as having a battery in your house. So people that have got solar power, wind power, they've got batteries. A lot of people have, that will then charge when there's an excess of power. Well, ultimately, that's just what your car is. It's just a mobile battery. And the vehicle to grid kind of dream, if you like, is that your mobile battery will go wherever you go. So if you charge at work, you can use it at work. If you shopping, you can use it, people can use it while you shop. It's just a mobile battery. There's nothing new about that. It enables the technology to work. Maybe it's not the single individual parts of an electric vehicle. Maybe it's a sum of all those parts. Not one individual thing that has made a difference. It's all of them put together. And you put them all together and it gives you a better environment. Now, without going all lefty green on you, I'm not just talking about saving the planet's resources. I'm talking about the environment we live in. It makes things quieter. It makes things easier for everybody. Yeah, okay. if we're not relying on petrol and diesel, then we're not draining those Earth's resources as well. We're not pumping carcinogenics into the air from the back of a diesel tailpipe. Yes, they are the greater good, but ultimately all these little things add up, make for a better environment than we live in, and I think make our life a lot easier. For me, I don't have to go to a petrol station. I don't have to queue up there. Every morning I get in my car, it's charged and ready to go. When I'm driving my car, it's quiet, refined, relaxing. I can't remember the last time that I got wound up with other road users in the car, because my engine's not revving and racing. I don't care. I know I've got power to get off the line as quick as most things. Do I do that all the time? No. It doesn't bother me. It relaxes me driving an electric vehicle. So that makes me happier. And ultimately, when I come home, I'm more relaxed when I get home from work. And now if we go back to autonomous driving vehicles, you see these concepts like little pods driving around towns and cities, picking people up, dropping them off. They're all based around electric vehicles. Now, the reason they can base them around electric vehicles is because of the additional benefits you get from electric vehicles. So put aside the noise and everything else for now. How difficult would it be to have an internal combustion engine in one of these vehicles having to be refueled all the time? Do you have somebody at a depot? There's fuel sloshing around. It's very difficult to automate. Yes, you could do it, but ultimately we've got conductive charging. Those vehicles can either have their own lane and charge all the time, or come back to various ranks, almost like a taxi rank, which have got conductive charging in, and they can just charge themselves up. It takes away that element of danger, and also just that additional having to physically find a way of putting a pump into a car to put fuel in. So there's another small part that electric vehicles are playing in our future. So there you go. It's not one individual part of an electric vehicle that's going to make a difference. It's the sum of all those parts together. And actually, it'll be interesting to know what your views are on it. Have I missed something really glaringly obvious? Is there a huge part of these vehicles that have been developed solely because of electric vehicles? Or any other comments you want to make on whether you agree with me or what you think about it. It'd be really interesting to have a bit of a conversation about it. But for now, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, remember to like and share it. And if you're not doing so already, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you again soon. Take care.